Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that by far, one of the most fan-favorite characters out there has a lot to do with the character of Darth Vader, not just because of how complex of a character he really is, but it's also about the aesthetics of the character, how, well the design of the suit really is, how fierce he really is in a lot of the Star Wars comics, the movies, and even, of course, in different angles such as the video games out there. There are many different elements to Vader that have remained a mystery in live-action adaptations that John and Dave are now pretty much piecing together and giving the actual experience to the fans. Let's get into it. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, Darth Vader is something that a lot of fans felt a little so-so on with the Kenobi series, right? When we look at the Kenobi show, there's no doubt about it that was the biggest thing that fans were looking forward to. It was nice to see him in the Bacta tank. It was really cool to see him fighting Kenobi on the moon of Mustafar toward the end of the show. Stuff like that really stood out to me. Those were the highlights of the show. But when we look at what John and Dave are about to do with Darth Vader, and they are doing great things, by the way, they have Hayden Christensen attached as a multi-season contract, or a multi-show contract deal, I should say, for the Star Wars franchise, one of which has a lot to do with Star Wars Ahsoka. So we will be going over every specific detail about this scene. If you guys don't want to be spoiled, I do suggest that you guys back out of this video right now. Now, with that being all, of course, put out there and said, what's even all the more exciting is that what John and Dave are on a mission for is to actually obtain a specific view of Darth Vader that we have never seen before, not in the movies, not in the Kenobi series, and not even in Star Wars comics. Now, on top of that, with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau in post-production officially with Star Wars Ahsoka, one specific scene that they have been working on with Hayden involves a new angle to Darth Vader that fans have never seen before. Now, one of the scenes that were shot around 3 months ago toward the tail end of principal photography involved a Darth Vader scene in which he's arriving back to his castle after obtaining his injuries from Ahsoka on Malachor. Here is where Vader's mask is being taken off piece by piece from the medical droids and supply droids that end up putting Vader inside of the Bacta tank and eventually on a surgery table. Now, in Kenobi, fans got a glimpse of Vader in the Bacta tank. However, in this scene, fans are going to witness new injuries to Vader that will become canon, that will be operated on by the medical droids. John and Dave have had, of course, Hayden perform in a very gruesome Vader surgery scene in which the medical droids are working on his neck, back, and even his chest in certain shots. It's in this very moment in which Vader begins to actually hear the voices of Padme Amidala, and are said to be dialogue taken directly from Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. John and Dave were heavily inspired from the moment Wolverine is being operated on in the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie, in which he himself too is inside of a tank and eventually is being performed on surgically. Let me stop right here for 1 second. I don't know if you guys ever looked up that clip or have seen the X-Men Origins Wolverine film, but I can see where John and Dave are coming from. So if you guys have not seen that clip, search up X-Men Origins Wolverine Surgery or X-Men Origins Wolverine Adamantium or something like that. I'm sure it'll pop up somewhere. That's the very scene that John and Dave, believe it or not, examined and used as inspiration for this Vader scene in which he's undergoing these intense surgeries that's actually igniting these memories of Padme Amidala. Alright, let's continue on. Now, further on top of this, Vader's actual heart rate can be heard speeding up during the surgery as he hears Padme's voices and is being operated on and going through a lot of pain. There is even a moment in which Vader snaps and uses the Force through all his might, where the medical droids get damaged in an unforeseen shockwave provided by Vader. This is where Vader's pain begins to ease and the heart rate begins to actually slow down as Padme's voice begins to fade. John and Dave actually watched X-Men Origins Wolverine scene specifically many times to be inspired of this particular moment. The main difference here is that Vader is all alone laying on a table as he is slowly picked up and placed into the bacta tank again after his, of course, Wrath of Destruction. Now, here's the thing about this that I really, really love. This almost sounds like it's on par with what we got in Revenge of the Sith, except a little bit more gruesome, a little bit more, I guess you could say, violent in a sense, where they're actually going to be showing us the injuries up close and personal, and the medical droids actually working on Vader's neck. Now, this most certainly is beginning to canonize and making it more clear as to exactly what is going on with Vader's neck. You guys may recall in Return of the Jedi, when he's being struck by Force lightning, you can see through Vader's flesh where all the bones are apparent, almost like an X-ray. And in that very given moment, you do see a actual man-made spinal cord of his neck. You know, there's certain vertebrae that have been replaced with metallic ones from what it seems. And so, John and Dave want to explore these specific injuries in greater depth, and even adding some new canon injuries on top of that too. To continue on here, John and Dave wanted to actually do something very special for Star Wars Ahsoka that would actually serve as a flashback to the after effects of his duel with Ahsoka and the injuries that he took after Malachor, and that this is not the end of Vader for Ahsoka, as John and Dave shot a duel in which Vader gains the complete upper hand in the form of another flashback. We'll be talking about that a little bit later as well. Now, the thing about this that I think is very apparent is that basically John and Dave, they want to show us the true terrible life of Darth Vader that he goes through. If you guys have read the comics, if you guys have read the books, Vader is always in constant pain. In fact, it's one of the benefits of him, because the pain causes more anger, the anger causes more power. And Palpatine specifically did a lot of that on purpose. He doesn't want him at ease. He doesn't want him free of pain. He wants him in constant physical pain, undergoing, routine surgeries on a monthly basis. Pretty much going through all these intense additions to his body, to his suit, and all these different enhancements as well. And so on top of that, you do get these flashbacks, or these flashbacks internally within Vader's mind, where he hears Padme Amidala reaching out to him in the form of dialogue. Again, John and Dave took inspiration from the scene where Wolverine, Logan, is going under that surgery, and he actually hears Kayla's voice reaching out to him. Very similar stuff. I can see exactly now where they're taking things from. There's no doubt about that. It almost seems like a carbon copy of that moment in X-Men. So I like where they're going with this. I really do. The fact that they are providing us a very emotional side of Vader mixed with a lot of anger is interesting. Because in the Kenobi series, you didn't really get all that much of that. It was mostly Vader just being very silent, just being there, not doing much, the droids putting him together. This is something in a different way. This is something different in its own nature. So, guys, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.